Hey, y'all.
Hi, Trey.
What
What is he doing?
I don't know. What?
Are you inspecting my damage?
Do you have damage?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's like a gouge.
How many more rides
What
do you
happened
guys
there?
think it's gonna last?
It'll probably be fine for a while.
Just keep riding it.
After the Shenandoah 100K that I rode half of.
Yeah, it's wobbling.
I don't know why my bike is messed up.
It's
here.
really not that messed up, but
I was just riding. I don't know. Yeah, so over the weekend, Jesse and I did he did the 100 mile, I did the 60 mile of the Shenandoah 100 near Shenandoah National Park in Virginia. So I rode my Specialized Epic. I'm pretty sure other videos about this bike.
I think
no,
so.
there's not. This bike's never been on camera.
Oh,
Whoa.
well, dang. Okay. So anyway, this is my Epic with flight attendant, transmission, zip high tops, Kenda boosters that are Dunzo, apparently.
I would keep riding them.
I would ride that
I would
bike.
ride it.
I'm totally gonna keep riding it just to see how
The
long
tread looks completely fine. I bet
Yeah,
it's
it's just
fine.
the sidewall. One of these days it's gonna pop.
It survived. Like, realistically, like, I think that's a positive.
It was not damaged that bad before, but I'm pretty sure it was damaged before because I noticed it before the race, but I was like, too late now to say anything. But it survived, so I might as well just keep riding it. I will say the damage is worse.
How did your race go?
It was really disappointingly awful.
Why?
Okay, so starting out, I will say this is my number one race that I want to get back to next year. Vibes all around were great. Like, it was just fun. It was pretty. People were cool. Loved it. It was also like extra added bonus. My race was Saturday, Jesse's was Sunday, so we could do the toddler handoff, which never happened, so that was awesome. And basically at the start, you just ride through a field, and there was just immediately a wall of people. It kind of felt like some slight Leadville vibes where, like, as soon as you get to the first climb, if you're not like up there, like everyone just stops.
Is it gravel or like single track the first climb?
It was like double track, kind of like fire
Like
road.
Leadville.
It was like fire road, kind of. But like going into this race, like next year, so I'm for sure going back, I need to be a lot more aggressive at the start because it was just like, I felt like I did myself a disservice because it was just immediately
Is it like
slow traffic.
mass start?
It was a mass start. Like, I ended up just like getting off my bike and jogging up the hill a little bit just
And
because it was easier to
passing
get
people?
around people.
Yeah.
But then I'm not in running shape, so I started cramping really bad, and like I felt like I was gonna die because I was running with my bike, and like I don't do cyclocross, like.
The whole climb at the beginning of the race,
It was so hard.
it took me 52 minutes.
It was an 8-mile climb, I think.
I'm trying to figure that
That's
out.
a really long climb.
Yeah, and it would like you'd go up, there'd be some
Yeah,
steeper
8
pitches.
miles. It took me 52 minutes.
My day, it was like super loose. It rained a lot like later that day, so I think it might have been a little bit more packed down for Jesse.
So Chase did an hour and 23 minutes
It
at
was-
100 watts.
It was dead stop.
Yeah.
Like there was so much traffic, and then you'd have to wait to a part like whether you could jog around someone or it would like level out a little bit to get around more people. But on the other side of that climb, like there's a fun, I would call it like an old school flow trail, and like I was able to pass like 4 more people going down that section and start to pick it up, and then getting off that, you get onto gravel. That's where I saw Jesse and Gentry like were right at the bottom of the trail there, and then like immediately as soon as I hit gravel, I passed like 10-15 more people. But that was where I really died. Like 30 minutes into this race because of the running, I wanted to quit. 30 minutes in because I was just like jogging up these little steep hills with this bike, and it sucked. It really sucked, and I wanted nothing more than just to turn around and like strider bike my way back down. But I didn't at that point. But yeah, so then the gravel climb,
So the segment's called the Death Climb.
that's true. That's really
It
well
didn't
named.
give you that segment because I think you didn't make it to the top because you quit like right at the top at the aid station.
I made it a little bit after, but at that point, like I was just going up and up and up for days, and my body couldn't do it. Like the night before, I think I've banned our daughter from going to races with us. She was up all night the night before, just like screaming. I showed up to this race running on like 3 hours of sleep maximum. And so I think I was kind of set up for failure from the get-go with that. So she's banned, but like that climb just totally did me in, and I had absolutely nothing left in my body and like could not imagine. Like I had a moment where I was like, I am feeling this bad and I'm halfway through, like
So-
barely halfway through.
The segment before you quit, it was 50 minutes of 4 miles. That's the big climb. It didn't give her the full segment, but I found another segment that
Yeah.
goes from the full death climb is like a flatter false flat. and then it turns into this really steep road.
It
So
was
is this
so
race just up a steep gravel climb and then down some single track and then
Yeah.
over and over again?
Basically, yeah.
Sounds amazing.
I got barely to the top of that climb, went through the aid station, hung out there for a little bit, was not recovering at all. Just felt awful. And then like right after I left the aid station, I ran into Jesse and Gentry who were just like hiking down the road. And at that point, I just broke down and I was like, please take me with you.
There's been people talking about when they have their significant other on the course in races that it makes it like so easy to quit.
Yeah, like if Jesse, like I loved him on the course, but also like if he wasn't there, I would have kept going because I had no
Yeah.
other choice. But like he was just like perfectly there hiking down the road at like I would say one of my weakest moments. And I mean at that point I was yawning constantly too, in addition to my legs dying.
Just from being so
just
tired.
the whole like I felt like my body was shutting down. It was very like I saw him and I was like, yep, I'm done.
Did you like your bike?
I absolutely love this bike. This is the first Epic I've had that I've actually liked, and I think that's because I don't have the brain. Flight Attendant worked perfectly for this. It was absolutely amazing. No complaints there. It did what it was supposed to do, and like I could definitely notice a difference going from the trail to the gravel. It did its job.
Good job, bike. Jesse, how was your race?
It was good.
Great. See you guys
That's the whole
later.
video. I got 8th. There was 67 people who finished the race.
The finish.
The
So there's
finish.
probably quite a bit more that started.
Yeah, it doesn't have good data on that, but I specifically I got 8th in open. One single speed guy beat me, Travis, who I've been racing Travis all year.
Does he keep beating you?
I beat him at Wilderness 101, but he beat me at Cohutta and now Shenandoah. He's advantaged in this situation. I rode with him like back and forth a lot in the race, and in the climbing he just goes faster because like he has to. On the flats I demolished all of
Yeah.
the single speed guys, but
It's crazy that they can like catch back up.
it just
They're gnarly.
yeah. So but I always have said in these videos, I don't count them even though I'm racing next to Travis and we're talking. I didn't care. You know, I didn't care that he was at beating me because it's not really what my goal was. The podium's different, so I try not to get stressed out around single speed riders because I've said this, like if you try to climb with them, you're gonna really make a mistake.
Yeah.
It's impressive and it's super cool, but you can't let that like affect your race. The race started fairly early, right?
6:30 a.m.
And it goes up that really steep climb that Chase kind of talked about. So the beginning of the race, the very first thing, I did 400 watts for 3 minutes. And then this first climb, I guess this is the segment, it took me 52 minutes and I did like 270 watts for the whole climb. That was a 1,600 foot climb, 7 miles. And looks like I ran about a top 100 time. I had some situations where the guys in front of me kept slipping off their bikes. That caused me to get dropped from the group of 4 leaders, if that makes sense. So entering the downhill, I thought I was in, to be completely honest with you, sometimes these segments don't make enough sense. So this downhill, going into that, I thought I was in like 10th place. I didn't really count how many people were in front of me. It was the same 2 guys and they kept falling off their bikes and I just kind of got wrapped up in it. And it turns out I was actually in 6th place and I didn't know. And I was doing really well. I let some guys pass me on the downhill. It was really wet at the beginning. I never had ran these tires before. I was just being cautious, you know. I didn't want to like crash to start the event out, especially literally never even trying these tires before. It was the first ride I did on them. I knew coming out of the trail because I watched Chase race, there was that like 12-mile death climb coming up. And so I kind of just was like really patient and I was like, I'm gonna pass. I knew in my head, I was like, I'm just gonna pass all these guys again. Like it didn't matter to me at all, which is exactly what happened. I got off the trail and into this gravel death climb. And this is where I really turned up the gas here. I did the death climb, the full death climb, which includes, so from here, that's the aid station. From here to here is a false flat, like you can see it on the map right there. And then once you make this turn, it goes into like more classical steep climbing. I attacked the false flat pretty hard. I was like, the whole time I was in full TT mode. So basically, that feels really messed up.
Yeah, it's not doing its
That feels bad.
lockout like it should.
Something's broken. Like, that's not working at all. That don't work. So one low-key advantage of using Flight Attendant that nobody's ever talked about before is that you can ride on your fork like this, and it automatically is locking out, so you don't need to mess around with it. Also though, normally if you have like a twist lock thing, it hurts your hand to put your hand on it because it like digs in, but with this it's really comfortable to have your hand right there.
Okay, so I didn't do that because I was afraid that like I would hit the buttons.
I don't think you should be afraid about that.
You know what I think's funny?
What?
That you're able to ride on your fork stanchions, but on the road you have to use a 44 centimeter bar.
Well, it's because it's more of a length problem. So like this is a comfortable position because it's so low that I'm stretched out. If I was like, it doesn't make sense.
You can't justify.
So I passed all the guys who had passed me on the downhill, and then I caught back up to some of the guys from the lead group that I let go around. I felt kind of bad, but there was one dude who was like gearing up to grab my wheel, and I just went super hard so he couldn't grab my wheel, and then just totally dropped him. I ended up talking to him towards the end of the race. He told me, he was like, I thought you had a mechanical and you were just trying to time trial back to the lead group. And I was like, I just didn't want to tow you to the climb, man, I'm sorry. But yeah, didn't tow him to the climb, and then had a really strong climb. That death climb I did was the 26th fastest all-time death climb. Jeremiah Bishop still has a 10-minute faster KOM than I did, but I was pretty happy about this climb. And knowing that I had to do it twice, my goal was to attack that portion of the race both times and try to really...
Wait, you have to do that climb twice?
Yeah, in the 100-mile race.
That's insane.
It's ridiculous.
1,800-foot climb.
Twice.
At this point, after the top of the death climb, I ended up on the next portion, which was kind of like a downhill. There's like another grass climb, and then a super long Pisgah-esque downhill is the best way I can describe it. It wasn't too scary, but it was definitely not chill. Like, you had to be on it and make sure you're paying attention. Very much reminded me of Pisgah. This is where I ended up passing Christian Tanguy, who is one of the fastest guys who does these races, and he had a flat tire. So then I still didn't realize it at the time, but like at this point I was legit in 5th place and I was on the podium. And I was like, I didn't know, but I also I still thought I was maybe in like 8th place. And then I got to the second death climb, and I just knew I wasn't moving as quickly as I did the first time. I intentionally went hard, and I was hoping that my body would be able to keep going. I never have attempted to go that fast at the beginning of an NUE race before, and I was pretty happy that I definitely made it 55-ish miles, like at a really, really high pace for me. And not that I was that slow in the last half, but I definitely didn't have the legs to finish out on the podium, if that makes sense. The second death climb, I was 15 minutes slower. So the first one, it took me an hour, 3 minutes. The second one, it took me an hour and 15. That does include stopping at an aid station, so I'm gonna give myself another couple minutes there. The wattage on that one was 225, so I did 50 watts less that time. So I lost 50 watts from the first climb to the second climb, which is not good. What do you think, Trey?
No, that's pretty bad.
It's bad?
Yeah.
Dang it.
You should be like 10 watts of each other. Sometimes getting up towards the front of the race early is beneficial.
Yeah.
Especially if you're with the fast guys, because then you can stay with them and draft off them.
Which I wasn't.
Yeah, so then maybe it wasn't a great idea.
Honestly, after that, I knew I wasn't really like gonna be that strong into the finish line. I knew I still was fast though. Like me feeling that tired, like I still had energy to pedal and I was still making progress. Because my time was still good. I really hurt me is that my knee started hurting. Why did that happen?
Too much climbing.
I think that might be why.
Too big of a chain ring for that much climbing, maybe.
One of the only times I've thought that it was too big of a chain ring.
Yeah.
I
think for this race it was.
Yeah, and And like just one, like literally one of the only times I've ever thought that in my entire racing career. So I ended up bleeding out. So I was in 5th. I got passed by the eventual 5th place finisher at the aid station at the top of the 2nd death climb. And then I ended up bleeding out a few more spots. I did get lucky. In the second half, it's more of a classical XC loop. There's not really like crazy climbing that's occurring anymore. It's more normal riding. Although there is some climbs left, it's just nothing insane. I honestly, there was a point where the first time you got to this point, you go left, and then it takes you back to the last aid station, and then you literally retrace to that sign, and then you go right, and the right takes you back to the beginning. Christian Tanguy and 2 other guys went the wrong way.
Dang.
I'll give them some kudos. They did it 3 times. So they went back and redid it again the right way. So they did the 2nd loop, figured out they screwed up, then they went back and did the 1st loop, and then they did the 2nd loop again. So like they ended up, like they didn't get disqualified, but that was the only reason, like if you look at the results, that's the only reason I beat Christian Tanguy. He still almost beat me even though he did that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he usually beats me by about an hour. I mean, that's pretty much every race.
Yeah.
So if you look at the results, that's the only reason that I beat him. And one of the other guys that was with the group, which the gentleman that I attacked on the death climb road, but he was in that group of 3 guys, and he just quit. He was like, I'm done. He felt like he had done enough for the day, and he was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go back. I mean, I understand.
That would have been me.
Yeah, I was talking to him at the very end. We were riding in together, and he was like, yeah, man, I just felt like it was good. He was a super nice guy. And then 2 freaking young kids passed me on the very final climb. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, the last climb, it's like the last climb is 1,000 feet, and you're climbing back up a fire road to descend the original downhill. And these 2 kids, they weren't juniors, but they were definitely like 20 to 18 age range, you know what I mean? Like definitely like younger kids who had some really great races, but they both passed me with like less than 10 miles to go, and I bled out 2 more spots and got 8th place. If I could have held on, I would have finished 6th. But yeah, those 2 kids sniped me at the very, very end.
They got you.
They did, and my knee hurt too bad to pedal harder. It really did. It was not good. You dropped your Texas Roadhouse, dude.
I'll get my Texas Roadhouse coupon in a second.
I'm hyped on that.
Shout out to Texas Roadhouse for
We're
sponsoring
sponsored.
the shop. Anyway, so Rick XC was sick. I would definitely recommend these tires. They work better on the gravel.
They're a slippery boy mixed with a grippy boy.
As the trail dried up and I got more used to them, I felt awesome on them. I was super, super happy. Would definitely recommend it. I would love to try the other compound, because these are definitely like a harder compound, but I think
are you talking compound or casing?
whatever it is, casing, compound,
Those are different things.
whatever the one that is more supple is what I would want to
Yeah.
try. Although if I was going to pick a tire for that race again, I would go with this compound. These rolled really fast on the gravel, which was important, but then also the rocky sections, I felt really confident like I wasn't going to rip my tire, and they don't even look like they were worn out at all after a 9-hour race. So I'm probably going to run these again. I really like this bike.
Open this up.
Yeah, let's get this wrapped up. I gotta go to Texas Roadhouse with my coupon.
I'm so tired. I'm sorry, guys.
So if you want to buy an S-Works Epic 8 or a non-S-Works Epic 8 or some cool tires or parts or whatever, go to thebicyclestation.com.
Do you think I'll hold my 5th place in the NUE series?
Is there another race?
There's like
Margie.
2 more
Oh,
that
no.
I'm not going to.
No.
It hasn't updated yet, but right now I have 30 points. So this will drop to an 8, and that'll take 8 points off my total to be 22. So.
But you're way ahead of 6th place because he has 60.
Yeah, but what is the where I might lose 5th place? This guy is really good.
But he's only done,
He's only done 2 races, and then this guy is really good, and he has also only done 2 races.
Oh, dang.
So if either of these 2 guys do another race, I will drop. But the worst I think I can drop right now
Is
would
two
be
places.
7th place overall,
Yeah.
which is sick. I'm pretty proud of this. This was a good year of doing these. Next year, I think I'm gonna try to do even more of them depending on the schedule.
I've got 5 on your calendar right now.
So maybe just one more, but hopefully 1 or 2 more. And hopefully y'all enjoyed the NUE series. We're gonna make more race videos coming up soon. But yeah, buy stuff.
Buy stuff.
Buy stuff and go to Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah, shout out
Yeah.
to Texas Roadhouse.
Bye.
So I just got off the phone with Shram, and the gentleman on the phone told me that he thinks this is a warranty. So technically, quick update, I did blow the damper out in this shock at Shenandoah, which I'm not really that upset about because I've ridden this bike a lot. What that means though is that at Hoosier Down Country next weekend, I will be racing the BC40, which is why I have 2 bikes. And sweet. Excited to ride that bike this weekend now.